Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Morning Coffee. It's James. I'm James, and this is my morning coffee show. How's everybody doing today? I hope you're all swell and doing pretty well in internet land, because today we're going to be talking about something like I'm not an expert on, and I know people out there are going to be like, "Oh, what makes you so special in this topic?" I'm not, but there's this weird thing going on nowadays, and I know people are going to be talking about this, but this war between this I wouldn't call it a war, but this like lack of needing something, and that is this whole this whole thing about we need knowledge, and I honestly, there's people out there who are, you're right, people need knowledge out there. This whole kind of like this craving of knowledge. We need to know. And, especially in this digital age where you're arguing and having fights with people, it's kind of rough out there. And it's kind of like violent, but there's a lot of knowledge and intelligent people out there, but there's not a lot of wisdom or anybody who's wise. I mean, here's what I mean. It is 5:58. I should be going to the gym right now, but I didn't because I lack the information to go. I lack the intelligence and knowing time, limits and stuff like that, and time management, which I'm going to be honest about. Yeah, I kind of suck at it. But the thing that bothers me, though, and it's these people who go around, and I'm not saying they don't know the information, they're not smart or anything like that, which, by the way, that is not what I'm trying to say here. I'm not trying to put down anybody. I'm not trying to call people stupid. I'm just calling them a little bit, we live in this day and age where, information is king, but we have so much information at the tip of our fingertips that we're forgetting one important thing, and that is wisdom. And that's something you can't really look up online. You could look up very wise quotes from somebody. You can look up very informative things about something or another. We live in a day and age where you can figure out a topic to get something. Or know something. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that big time. But the problem is that we don't know what to do with the information, because we usually use it for like stupid shit. We look up stupid things or something like that, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Whatever. I don't care. Do what you want with the information. It's your information. You can do whatever you damn well please. But however, we've kind of forgotten our ways when it comes to, using that, and when to use and how to use it, and why are we doing this. We're kind of lacking the wisdom to just be like, yo, is this really an argument you want to get into? Is this something you really want to be in? And it goes to like other things in life too. I mean, for example, like I was getting into an argument with this guy online about Jordan Peterson. Like, if you didn't know the information with Jordan Peterson and his controversy, somebody compared Jordan Peterson to Red Skull, or made an allegory, because in the comic they used his book 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos, which honestly people talk about, it was just a self-help book, but people do need help, which is odd, because it's like you don't want to respect anybody who's really out there trying to be, giving help or anything like that, and you vilify these people who, especially Peterson, who was like, oh, he's nothing more than a nut, like it's, he's just, he didn't agree with the whole fucking, transgender thing and the pronouns thing, and it's like, I don't agree with it either. I don't want the government forcing me to call you a he, them, they, because, you're upset. To me, that's a slippery slope to tyranny, and that's what he was talking about. I don't care if you want to put on a dress and pretend to be a woman. I don't care, but don't force the government to respect your wishes. Because at the end of the day, if you still have male genitalia or female genitalia, and you're going by the opposite of that, gender, then I'm sorry, but you're not a man. You're a woman dressed up like a man. You're not a man. You're not a woman. You're just a man dressed up like a woman. I'm sorry, but we don't live in the 90s anymore. This is not brave and stunning anymore. This is just typical place nowadays. But this is not my topic to talk about that. I'm backing away from that. But, again, Jordan Peterson gets called, gets compared to Red Skull, and, if you've read Jordan Peterson's books or heard his lectures and stuff like that, some of the things he talks about is very simple things. Clean your room. If you want to try changing something or doing something for the environment, clean your room. Simple thing ever. Or pet a cat. That's one of his advice, is to pet a cat or stand up straight with the shoulders back. Now imagine like a villain. Imagine a superhero hearing that and trying to stop Red Skull or stop a supervillain, and he's spouting out the same thing as Jordan Peterson. You would stop to think about like what you're doing. It's like, wait, you're wrong. You can't stand up straight with your shoulder. That's something a hero would say. But now that like a villain, now that like, oh, you got the Red Skull saying it, and that means it's bad. It's like, and I made this like joke where it's like, so basically Jordan Peterson's getting compared to a Nazi. That's the sum of it, But people have been making jokes about that and making like putting audio edits over that where it's his lectures, but it's him spouting, different things altogether, about, standing straight with the shoulders back or facing the Dragon of Chaos and taking the goal, which, by the way, shouldn't be a bad negative. It shouldn't be a negative. That should not be a negative. Like, he's telling you to stand, like, achieve the impossible. Like, villains don't usually do that. They usually are just like, fuck you. Like, you're not important. But honestly, after hearing all these lectures, I'm like, and after, like, following them, I'm like, like, why did you compare, Jordan to, like, the Red Skull? That doesn't make any fucking sense, you silly man. You silly people. You silly goddamn people. Like, it makes no... They just don't understand. It's like, why do you think people, like, are attracted to Peterson? But I'm losing topic here again. Because I'm distracted. I'm distracting myself from not wanting to go to the gym, which is a cardinal sin in its own. So, to finish up, and I will not to finish up, but to get to the goddamn point. So basically, I found this one clip of Jordan Peterson talking about, the equal rights thing and all this stuff, and no, it was like another Red Skull, like dubbed over with Jordan Peterson, and it was kind of funny, and I was like, and I'm quoting this too, because like this started at the beginning of 2016, where villains were starting to become heroes and heroes were starting to become villains. This is the age of Keck. This is the age of chaos, And I was not trying to say that. Oh, I killed a ladybug. Dang it. Well, no, wait. I got ladybugs everywhere, but it was this kind of day and age where villains, it's strange where villains are the ones being like the heroes of the people, and not where the heroes are being the agents of the state. Think about that for a second. Think about that scenario that's been going on recently. And I made this comment, and then somebody decided to get into a fight with me. You do realize Red Skull's a Nazi, right? He's a Nazi. He's a bad. He's a Nazi. He killed 6 million people. It's like, yes, I understand that. You keep harping on that, but you do realize why anti-Semitism is still alive, right? Because you use, those people suffering as your own little, invalid argument kind of blocker. It's like, well, you think Hitler's a good artist, well, you should be banned because you believe in not, like, what about a communist who's killed more people? Forget about the whole, like, 6 million, certain individuals. What about starving your people to death? What about just slaughtering them? What about, suppressing them for years on end? It's like, the commies killed more people. Yet, and I'm not taking away what Hitler did either. This is not the point. This is not what I'm trying to argue, like, anything like that. Absolutely not. It's just this obsession with we need to snuff out all Nazis, and it's like, I get it. And this guy, and I got into a back and forth with this guy, and he was just, I was trying to argue with, trying to give him reasons and stuff like that, and he was coming up with the whole reasons, like, well, Jordan Peterson does say some good things, but a lot of, like the argument of Jordan Peterson is not, is not an Jordan Peterson is not a fascist, but a lot of fascists follow him. You know what? And I'm sorry to say this, but it's kind of true, but you know what? A lot of regular people follow Jordan Peterson as well. And yes, before you say anything, oh, he just wrote some self-help books. I'm sorry, but I look at Jordan Peterson's like writings, and there's some teachings that I just don't agree with, like the whole incel thing, or the video games being bad for you, or which, by the way, boomers, back the fuck up. Please back the fuck up. Or the that Frozen is propaganda, which I think it is, but there's some things that he's like, I don't agree with him on 100%. But what he does is trying to do is giving people enlightenment, cleaning your room. How many times have you heard clean your room? Clean your goddamn room. What's the point? It's about organization in your life, controlling the chaos, and starting at the simplest place is your room. And I got into this back and forth with him, and he was like, obviously he was triggered. Obviously he was. I'm not gonna lie about it. He doesn't want to deny. He doesn't want to admit it, but he was. I wasn't really triggered, but I was just trying to have a conversation with him. Which, by the way, the left, please shut the fuck up about being triggered, okay? You guys were being triggered for fucking 4 years because you thought Donald Trump was a Russian asset. It's like, or the fact that people wanted to take away your birth control, or people wanted to stop, they wanted to go back to the 1950s America. Your people are so obsessed with your own freedoms that you're willing to snuff out somebody else's. That's all I'm going to say about that. That's all I'm going to say about that. And I know, I'm probably, you're wrong. It's like, no, I'm just spouting out what I have to say. You can agree or disagree with me. You can ponder it all you want. I'm just giving you my wisdom. So the thing with this whole, argument I was having with him, it just ended up being kind of like, okay, we're not getting anywhere with you. You at the end, he was just, I'm just having fun. It's like, and I was pointing out some like logical things, and it was like, but their whole argument, and this is something I have to, like, I know people out there are going to be like, well, it's not a left versus right thing. It's not a us versus that. You can't make it a versus. Yeah, it is. There's two ideologies going on right now. There's people who think, that drag queens need to be reading stories to young kids, to your kids, and there's people out there who don't agree with that. And I think that the wisest thing is that they're kind of right. You really don't want drag queens. Being a drag queen is a sexual thing. It's not a oh, he's just identifying as a woman. It's like, no. That's just some dude in a dress. There's a difference. There's a goddamn difference between someone who legitimately wants to be a woman and somebody who legitimately wants to just get off on that. Like, it makes no goddamn sense. And furthermore, I'm just so tired of this whole, like, bickering of back and forthness between that. It's like, just accept the fact, like, alright, I'm losing the point here. But the point I'm trying to make, and I know I have no more time for this, but the point I'm really trying to make here is that this guy basically was just a clown. This guy was just basically a clown. And I just walked away from the conversation. Because I was like, you don't want to change. You just want to pretend to be a jester. And, oh, I was having fun. See, fun, joke. You're a joke. It's like, you're just a clown. You're a fool. It's like, they don't want to hear the information. They don't want to hear that. And it's like, how about just having, like, just a sit down and conversation? Nobody. Because and I think the problem is that we're lacking wisdom and we have too much intelligence and lacking any wisdom or common sense. But that's all I gotta say about that. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, love you, bye-bye, and remember to stay awesome. Okay, peace.